I love my caffeine. I love my coffee. Like, seriously love it. And if you've seen my videos, you know I'm always talking about it, but the harsh reality is that I can't really consume coffee in the afternoon. It's a serious problem. If I consume coffee in the afternoon, I don't sleep as well. Even if I can fall asleep, my quality of sleep is not that good. And I feel like overall, if we're leaning on coffee so much that we're needing it throughout the afternoon too, we need to reel it back a little bit. So that's why I wanted to do this video where I have 4 solutions for you for afternoon drinks that are still gonna give you that same mental boost, so you're not gonna have that crash, but you're not gonna have the jitters and the stuff that's gonna keep you up at night. These are just good alternatives to have in place, and they make a huge difference. They activate different pathways that trigger the brain to be alert in different ways, but also they can even be used as pre-workouts because they improve ATP throughout the rest of the body. So we'll get into all of them. But you are tuned into the internet's leading performance, nutrition, and fat loss channel. New videos every single Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday at 7 a.m. Pacific time, and a bunch of other videos throughout the course of the week as well. If you look on your screen, there's a little bell button. If you hit that bell button, you can turn on notifications, so that way you always know whenever I post a video, which is practically every day these days, but you can also know whenever I go live, so you can take part in my live Q&As and ask questions and have a lot of fun. Okay, so make sure you're keeping it locked in here. So let's go ahead and get into the science. So the first one that I want you to try using, and this is a great one overall, there's a lot of benefits, is something called Rooibos. Okay, Rooibos isn't even technically a tea, it's technically a shrub. And what happens is, it's a South African shrub that they harvest, and then they literally beat it, like they hit it and they bruise it. And what this does is it brings out a lot of the flavonoids. It causes a little bit of oxidation that brings out specific flavonoids and specific antioxidants that have a powerful effect when it comes down to thinking nice and clear. You see, the cool thing about Rooibos tea is that it doesn't have the oxalates in it, no oxalic acid. So these oxalates are normally going to inhibit the absorption of like calcium and zinc and some of these other minerals. So like if you eat a bunch of spinach and stuff like that, you're having a high level of oxalates. So the nice thing is you're not getting the oxalates that you might get with some teas. So Rooibos is very good in that case. So you can use it long term, not have any negative effect in terms of mineralization of the body, yada, yada, yada. But it contains some interesting things that have a powerful effect on the body. The first one is an antioxidant known as Aspalathin. Okay, Aspalathin has powerful effects when it comes down to modulating what's called tumor necrosis factor alpha. TNF-α is one of the main indicators of inflammation within the body. It's literally called tumor necrosis factor. It has a role in cancer, it has a role in tumors, it has a role in other growth of other tissues, but also just when our cells are inflamed. So by modulating that, we think clearer. We have less brain inflammation, but it also modulates interleukin 6. Interleukin 6 is something that when we're trying to think clearly, we want that level nice and low. When we're trying to recover from an illness or stuff like that, we want it to be a little bit higher because it means our body's responding. But usually, normal day, we don't want that. Then of course, the modulation of what's called nuclear factor kappa B. Nuclear factor kappa B, like the big household name in inflammation. We reduce that, overall inflammation is better. But I don't want to go down the inflammation rabbit hole because that can get boring. I want to help you get energy. So the other thing that it's got is a master flavonoid known as quercetin. Quercetin's marketed as like a really expensive flavonoid all over the place. The fact is you can get it a lot more inexpensively when you just drink some Rooibos tea. Quercetin has some powerful effects at helping boost glutathione levels. Here's the thing, glutathione is cool. We all know that glutathione is a master antioxidant, it helps us detox, yada, 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 but detoxing isn't all that exciting. Where glutathione is interesting and where quercetin helps out is when it comes down to supporting ATP. So here's what's cool. ATP is energy. Gives us brain energy, gives us muscle energy. The problem is a lot of ATP gets wasted. Okay, it doesn't always get utilized. What quercetin does is ultimately helps round up the extra ATP that isn't being used. Okay, it does this by boosting glutathione. So the ATP that normally is getting wasted is getting harnessed and actually utilized. So whereas coffee is sort of adding extra energy in, quercetin and ultimately glutathione are helping scrounge up ATP so we can actually use it. So we're basically using energy that we otherwise would have wasted. Talk about being efficient. That's exactly what we want. All right, so let's move on to number 2. Okay, number 2 is going to be utilizing a chicory root coffee. Yes, you can literally make coffee from chicory root. And there's some really interesting ways that actually helps long-term memory, but it's really, really good when it comes down to just wanting that mental boost, but more so wanting to think clear and just feel refreshed in the afternoon without that big spike in adrenaline that you get from coffee. The way that it does this is by having high amounts of B6. Now sure, you could just go and take a B6 supplement, but the problem is it's not going to be as bioavailable. See, when it comes down to chicory root, B6 is combined with inulin. So you have a slower digestion of the B6, allowing it to actually get into your system. Now what exactly does B6 do within the body? Well, it's a precursor to some very powerful neurotransmitters. Okay, we're talking dopamine, we're talking gamma-aminobutyric acid, we're talking serotonin. We're talking these things that truly help you feel good, but with GABA in the mix, it's helping you feel good and energized, but also clear and controlled and calm. So it's exactly what we want when it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon and we need to focus on a deadline, but we don't want to be amped out of our mind. Okay, now the other thing is inulin. Chicory root is a prebiotic fiber in and of itself. So you're getting huge digestive benefit, which is great by itself, but inulin has some powerful effects. You see, inulin helps feed specific bacteria in the gut. Those bacteria actually end up creating what is called butyrate. Butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid. Okay, short-chain fatty acid that feeds the actual cells in your gut, but then there's some links with synaptogenesis. It actually helps you form new neural pathways. It does this by promoting specific gene expression of pro-plasticity genes. So genes that would normally help turn your brain on, like when you're young, when you're a baby, you have high levels of pro-plasticity genes, encouraging your brain to grow, encouraging you to develop new synapses and things like that. As we get older, those levels go down. So when we turn those genes back on, by having those short-chain fatty acids, it's like the body's like, whoa, I want to learn and grow again. So this means you're going to be more articulate, you're going to have better memory, all this stuff, very, very powerful, not to mention getting a gut benefit too. Also improving what's called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, along the same realm. BDNF, brain fertilizer, literally helps your brain grow new nerves and new cells. So powerful stuff for the long haul and for the short term. Okay, this next one I want to talk about is actually a compilation, and its compilation of different things ends up adding up to pretty much the best substitute for coffee that you could ultimately get if you can assemble all the ingredients. So first off, we have cacao. Okay, raw cacao, one of the most powerful serotonin boosters that you can find. Okay, it's got specific things like phenylethylamine in it that are going to really help you feel good. That's why you feel good when you have cacao. Little teeny bit of caffeine, which is going to give you just enough energy to kind of get over that hump. Then you want to mix a little bit of reishi mushroom. Okay, reishi mushroom is very powerful when it comes down to reducing tumor necrosis factor alpha, but also helping you establish new neural pathways too. Then we get into cordyceps. This is where it's really cool. Cordyceps is a powerful ATP booster. Been proven in multiple studies to actually generate new ATP through mitochondrial density and through helping ATP coupling. So you have some really powerful stuff there. The actual production, the actual synthesis of ATP, energy at its core, is helped out by cordyceps. Then when you combine a little bit of turmeric, and you can always make this, or you can actually use a product called MUDWTR, and I'm going to get to this in a second, but these guys compiled all this stuff. So let me go ahead and finish out these ingredients, and I'll tell you where you can get this stuff too. So if you have a little bit of turmeric in the mix, turmeric is a COX-2 inhibitor, which means you're going to get that reduction in joint inflammation without the COX cyclooxygenase 1 inhibition. COX-1 is the inflammation that protects your gut. COX-2 is the inflammation that's in your joints. We want COX-1, we want the gut to be healthy. That's why if you take a bunch of anti-inflammatories like aspirin or ibuprofen, you can end up with bleeding ulcers. It can destroy your gut. You want to use turmeric. So very important to feel loose and feel good. This is why you can use something like MUDWTR, and you can actually use this stuff when you are going to work out in the afternoon, but you don't want a bunch of caffeine. Okay, then of course we've got lion's mane in there. Lion's mane promotes synaptogenesis heavily. So you've got all this good stuff going on, but you want it to be frozen in time, right? You want all the benefits of these compounds we're talking about to occur, but then you also want the brain to register this as the norm, so it starts paving the new way. Then of course cinnamon, a real simple one to add. So cinnamon is powerful simply because of the blood glucose modulation, but of course you also get a glutathione boost from cinnamon too. So combine all these together, you have a well-rounded, energized drink. Now the cool thing is the guys over at MUDWTR have put it with a little bit of masaga chai. Now when you put it with chai, you get a tiny bit of caffeine, but you also get a nice, rich chai, like herbal flavor. So you get a spicy flavor. So these guys are great. So it comes in like a little portable canister, and you can just literally just make your tea. You can mix it in with a little bit of water. Super simple, all the compounds that I just talked about. So I know the owner of this company, he's got some awesome cafes here in LA, which is just awesome. The fact that he's actually created an enterprise out of this where he's making shops and cafes to actually help people that need to get off caffeine or need to make a shift or have a drink that isn't caffeinated. So you can get your hands on some at the link down below in the description, sponsor of this channel. So thank you to them for allowing me to create cool content like this. And also you're gonna get a special price on it. So go ahead and check them out. Okay, now we move into the next one. Okay, the next one is going to be ginseng tea. If you've watched my videos, you've been a subscriber for a while, I did a video a couple years back that went crazy viral. It was on ginseng, talking about ginseng as a great way to get an energy boost towards the end of the day without the caffeine. And here's why. When it comes down to our brain working and really actually retaining information, it's all about acetylcholine. Okay, and ginseng is one of the only compounds out there to help promote the production of acetylcholine. This acetylcholine is just a byproduct of energy, but it also helps us grow our brain. It helps us retain information. So ginseng literally helps our brain retain. So if you need to have more of a memory, if you need to help yourself just remember something, like honestly, I use ginseng a lot when I film because it helps me just retain information. If I need to crash study something and I need to explain it in a video and I need to be fresh, ginseng helps me out a lot. Again, in addition to that, you have a huge synaptogenesis effect. So again, you're growing new brain synapses, but you also have a big boost in gamma-aminobutyric acid. GABA helps you feel calm while energized. We want this, very big thing. Okay, but then lastly, it helps form new blood vessels. So if you think about your brain, you think about where blood would flow, and then you think about forming new blood vessels, you can see how forming new blood vessels can encourage nutrient delivery, that butyrate, those short chain fatty acids, and all that stuff to different areas of the brain to literally grow and access different parts of our brain. It's like you've seen the movie Limitless, right? Where we only access a couple % of our brain at the most. That's because we're not really just tapping into everything we've got there. So imagine new delivery, new blood flow to different areas of the brain. Ginseng is the cutting edge of this. You want to get yourself smarter? Quite honestly, the closest link is going to be utilizing ginseng and adding it to your beverages, whether you're having it alone or you're adding it to your coffee and tea. So that's 4 different ways that you can boost your energy and truly get a new effect without caffeine in the mix, or at least a little teeny bit. I would honestly say that MUDWTR has done their due diligence in combining a lot of these things in a tasty, convenient way that you can bring with you to make sure you're always on point. So make sure you give them a shot. Honestly, just as a thank you for appreciating this channel and helping everything make possible here. But as always, if you have ideas for future videos, you can put them down in the comment section below. And if you have anything you'd like me to answer in the weekly Q&A, you can put them down in the comment section too. See you in the next video.